Oh, well, we've got an adapter to fix. Welcome to 2025. Let's talk about golf equipment. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is the McGolf channel where we talk about golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings, all so your scores can go low. If you would, like, subscribe. We'd like to get that count up a little bit more each year so that this type of information gets out to the YouTube universe. Alrighty, so very common type of repair, and we're going to talk about the installations and what adapters do. This is a Callaway Epic. Okay, there you go, a Callaway Epic, and it's the LS, the Callaway Epic Max LS. If you see it, it's like right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see the Callaway. And there it is, the Epic, okay? And this one came with a slider, which I do like. And this one was the more weight slider. And the LS is low spin. So what happened? Apparently the golfer here low spinned it enough that he snapped off the shaft, clean off of the adapter. All right, so what's the deal here? So number one is we have to make this look like that. And what I mean that is, I mean making it look like that. So what's it missing? It's missing a ferrule. All right, it's missing a ferrule. This little piece right here. All right, so the thing with now, can you fix this? Absolutely. Are we going to? Yes, we are. Is there an easy way to do it? Yes, again. So we're going to go through all those and show you what's going on. So how does this work? Number one, if you go, let's say your ferrule or your adapter is not working. It doesn't want to cooperate, it gets ruined, it got broke or something like that way. You can get an aftermarket variety. Now, if you go to GolfWorks, you can get what came from Callaway model. That's the best choice. The one that came from the manufacturer. Why? Well, it's going to fit better, and all your parts are probably going to fit better as well. Now, a lot of times what you'll get is the bottom pieces, and this is the screw and all the washers that came with it, or that go into actually stay in the head. Normally it's held, these screws are held into the head with either a plastic or some sort of rubber washer that's just a hair tighter than the screw so that it holds it in there. Once it gets past the threads, then that's what that holds it in there, and that's the reason why you hear that rattling sound every once in a while. If you hear the rattling sound, just a couple clicks with your torque wrench, you're good to go. So another thing is, particularly with Callaway, is that they have a line. They have this line. Let's see if we get to focus. There it is. They have that line right up in here. And that line is to go on the back side of the golf club. It will marry up with the line. And on this part, it's starting to get a little old, so you can see it right here. There it is. See that line right here? It's right in the off-colored piece. So those lines marry up. So if you want everything to be standard and neutral, what you do is you move the cogs so you get an S and an N to line up, and you put that on the back of the club. You put that on the back of the club, and then you'll know your golf club is set for standard neutral. Now in this particular instance, they can go into a draw setting, which means the face will go a little bit closed. They have loft settings, which are numbers, -1, +1, +2, and then standard and neutral, and that's just basically keeping everything on plane. So can you have standard and draw? Yes. Can you have -1 and neutral? Yes. It's all what these cogs line up to. Okay. Now back to this part of it. If you get just this piece, and then you turn around and you go, wow, I need a ferrule. You want to be careful, just like what happened to us, is that sometimes they don't want to fit. All right. Now, can I make them fit? Yeah, because I'm going to make them fit. What you do is you put the shaft in this side of it, and then you just sand around the outside until it finds its way in. All right. However, if you buy the entire kit, i.e. from GolfWorks, it's going to come like that. And so now you know it's going to look. So if you look, that's a very seamless transition. Now, what'll happen is a lot of people will try and put it on just like this, and this ferrule will act like a squeegee and remove a lot of the glue. So you either want to put a lot of glue in there, or you just take the thing off, get yourself set up, put it back in there, and you're good to go. So one of two ways of getting there. Okay, so how are you going to get this out? If you look, there's a whole bunch of junk stuck all the way in there. And what you see is there's a big, it looks like a rod on there. That's basically glue. And it's good to have the head here. It gives us a marker, so he has it on N and +1. So we got to make sure if we ever take this out or go to adjust it, it needs to go back to N +1. All right, so how do we do this? Well, there's a couple of methods you can do it. Now, if I had another screw, which I could use this one, what I'd do is I would use a pair of gloves and I would hold it and I would take it out of the head and I would heat it, and then I would put it back into the head, and then I would start drilling it out. However, I've got the head. So we're going to use the head as my heat sink, and then we're going to drill it out, just so you can see how you can clean out an adapter in order for you to get back onto the golf course. So let's go to the bench. All right, so the stuff that we're going to use to make this go is, you can find this anywhere. It can be in your office. It's nothing completely different that you need, that you have to go buy a special golf tool. It's just not that. What you're going to need is a torch or heat source, right? They say, oh, I'll use a heat gun. No, not in this case, because a heat gun is made to burn paint, right? That's what heat guns are for. And when I'm using a head, there's a lot of painted surfaces, and I don't want to, and it just takes forever for me, and I don't like that. You could use a propane torch. A propane torch is a lot of heat and a much bigger flame. Can you use that? Yes, but you had better be very skilled with it, because again, you can get things too hot and things will start to bubble. Butane torch, smaller flame. It's a little cooler than propane, and it's easier to maneuver around. You can get these at Lowe's, Home Depot, all that other stuff, so go with that. All right, the other thing you're going to need is a drill with several drill bits, and we're going to drill it out. That's pretty much how we're going to do this. Now, the real trick is when we go to clean it, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So what we're going to do, and the reason why I'm harping on this, is that we're going to run the flame all the way around. Now, a couple of things here. These cogs act as, we'll say, insulation to the adapter, because the adapter is actually underneath. If I show you that, if we show you this, and you see how that all moves around in there? What we're wanting to get it to is underneath these things. Now, they're all aluminum, okay? They're all aluminum. Aluminum transmits a lot of heat really, really fast. So in some cases, we can use these as a heat provider. We'll see. Now, the real trick here is not to get it too hot, because this is aluminum, like I said, is very porous, and the coating on this thing won't bubble per se, but what it'll do is it'll find its way back into the pores, and it'll look like you scraped it off. So we don't want to do that so much, as we want to get the heat evenly distributed. So here we go. So we got it. I don't think I got it all, but we'll start with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a drill, and it's a smaller drill, probably, I'm going to say 5/16 or smaller, and we're going to try and drill out the middle of the head. Now, as you can see, this leaves a lot of graphite behind. You want to try and not get your hands all into that because it gets itchy. And so now what we're going to do is hit it with a little bit more heat. That sit there for a moment. Now I'm going to go to a slightly bigger one. The idea here is where it's called step drilling, and what we want to do is eventually get this shaft so to the hot that it lets go and it comes with the drill. Just like you saw right there. And once that's done, then you see all the glue and whatnot. And this is what you get to see inside there instead of all that black goo. Fairly simple, right? Now the final part of this is, in every instance, we want to make sure that the hosel is clean. So I will use a hosel tool, a hosel brush. You see, we're still getting a whole bunch of stuff out of here, so we didn't have it completely clean. Still more stuff coming out of it. So we're going to keep going until it's done. That's still quite a bit. What are we looking at? It's pretty clean. Oh, there's some stuff down the bottom. Alright, let's go get some more. One more time, I think we got it. Yep, all done. Okay, so we got ourselves a very, very clean inside. Now what we're going to do to kind of sharpen this up a little bit, as you can see, that's kind of it's an okay top, but we're going to make it into a better top. So we're going to use this. Now this is where you don't have to do this, particularly if it's yours, but you can do like a small polishing on it like you would for your car. And that's what this is for, the Glanz Watch Wheel. Now, yes, this is not something that you would see in your basement, maybe, unless you're that type of person. But you could do it with typical car care products, like that flitzer, I think is what they call it. But you could use just a hand towel that provides wax or something like that. That's what I'm trying to do here. Just a really teeny weeny polishing. So let's get to that. Okay, so we got that taken care of. We got it all nice and polished up. As you can see, this is going to look really good when I'm all done. Take care of the bottom. That's where most of the mess is at. We got it almost. I'm going to clean up that LS part here. But if you look, looks a lot better, I think. He's got a couple of scrapes apparently from where the thing broke. Outside of that, we're looking pretty good. Alrighty, so now the last bit is for shaft installation, and that's just gluing the club into the head. Now I'll show you here in just a second one of the easiest ways. Let's go back to the other side. Okay, as far as putting it back together is a simple glue, just like any other time frame, which you would do, and what you want it to look like is that. Alright, it's a shaft. This one happens to be a 10C blue, and it's got the same setup as this club does. And one of the easiest way to do it is just buy the shaft with the adapter on it. Bingo, right? So all you have to do is take this apart, and then what you would do is you would take it apart, and I'm not going to because I'm going to put an actual shaft in here. And take it apart, put this guy on there, make sure it has that N+1, and set it like that. And oh, we're going to have to go this way. We set it with the N+1 just like that says. Put it in the back, tighten it down with the stock wrench, and we got a club together. Now, As far as the glue goes, when you go to do this, you got to make sure that that's going to fit, that the ferrule is going to fit in there just like that one, and we should be good to go. Now remember when I showed you it wouldn't that it wouldn't go into this one. That's why you test fit pieces, but it will go into this one nice and tight, just like that. Okay, so there we go. It's going to look good. So the rest of it is it's a fairly simple install. So the idea here is, man, I got all this stuff in this adapter, how do I get it out? Simple enough, right? You get it warm. You don't have to get it super hot. You get it warm. I was in 20 seconds in 3 spots. Did a little drill to make it so I could grab it. Did a little bit more heat. It went in there with the next biggest drill, and it all let go. Clean it out, and Bob's your uncle. You're ready to go. And then you got to really make sure it's clean so that the shaft and the epoxy have something to grab onto, and then you're set and you're ready to go. So if you want to see some more stuff like this, like and subscribe, and join us on our live streams on Mondays, and we talk about this same exact type of stuff. Starts at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. There's a lot of folks that get on there. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. If you got a club making question, we certainly will take our shot at answering it. So as anything, take your time. Use the right tools that you can find at the house, and as always, let's see your scores go low.